Alright, today we're going to be reviewing one of the best RPGs I've ever played, Radiant Historia. In this game you play as Stock, and that's S-T-O-C-K-E. He's kind of this special agent for the military who very early on is given this book called The White Chronicle, and this allows him to time travel back to any point that he's previously visited. In addition to that, he also has the opportunity to visit an alternate timeline. Excuse me. And through doing these things, he has to manipulate history and prevent the end of the world. The story was just amazing. Really great cast of characters. The story just remained interesting throughout the whole 40 hours of the game. And I'm not going to get into any more detail on it because I don't want to spoil anything for anyone because it was that good. One of the best JRPG stories I've encountered. Next we have characters. Throughout the game you'll have several characters hop in and out of your battle party. I think there's about 7 in total. The two main characters are Rainy and Marco is kind of like your healer. Rainy is your magic user. She does also have some other useful spells like Regenerate, which allows the whole party to basically have a regen effect on them throughout the battle. Or for so many turns, I should say. One interesting thing, though, with the time travel is in games like Chrono Trigger or Chrono Cross, once you find a character, you can take them back to any period that you visited. In this game, Stock is the only one that time travels, so you may have Rainy and Marco, in your battle party in the current time, but if you go back in time, you may have, like, Rosh and someone else. So very interesting the way they did that. Next up we have the graphics. Graphics look really good. There are some, like 2D sprites on some 3D backgrounds and stuff. One minor gripe I do have is when you're in the dungeons, there's no map to look at. The dungeons are, for the most part, they're straightforward enough where you're not really going to get lost, but it would have been a nice feature to have. Now, the music in this game was done by Yoko Shimomura. I hope I said that right. And I'm not familiar with her work, but holy cow, this was an amazing soundtrack. And it's one of those where, like, from the first note that plays, you're like, holy cow, this is going to be amazing. And, it just sets the tone for the whole game, and it's just a very solid soundtrack throughout. And, like I said, I'm not familiar with her work, but I'm definitely a fan now. The battle system is your typical turn-based system, however, it does have a few tweaks to it. Like a lot of RPGs, post Final Fantasy X, you have your little turn icons, which you can see, who goes when and all that stuff. One neat feature of it, though, is you have this option called Change, which allows you to swap positions with anyone whose turn is listed on the side of the screen, and even with enemies. The one drawback to this is that your defense is reduced until you take a turn. Sometimes it is advantageous to swap turns with an enemy character and chain a bunch of attacks together, because as you chain more and more attacks together, your attacks become stronger, obviously, and you also gain bonus experience at the end of the battle. Another tweak to the battle system is the enemy characters are on this 3x3 square grid, and you can knock enemies into other enemies, and when you do that, if you have another character attack immediately, they will actually attack both of those enemies. So, using the change function and also knocking enemies around the grid really gives the game some extra strategy. One thing about the battle system, though, is I found the game to be pretty easy throughout. I only saw the game over screen twice, I believe. So, that's a little disappointing, but not a huge deal. I mean, some of the greatest games of all time, like Super Mario World or Castlevania Symphony of the Night, are easy as hell, but they're still amazing games, and this one is no exception. Should take you about 40 hours to beat this game, and there are multiple endings to acquire. I did not find everything in the game, and I did not get the best ending, but the ending I got was pretty awesome. Not really much for replayability besides, you know, just getting all the side quests and acquiring the true ending and all that. But yeah, that'll about do it. It's just an amazing game. Anyone who owns a DS or is into JRPGs should definitely check out this game. It's just the best RPG on the system and one of the greatest RPGs of all time. I would put it up there with games like Chrono Trigger and Skies of Arcadia. It's that good. So that'll do it for my review of Radiant's Historia. Thank you for watching, and stay Bawesome.